Hey, everybody, how are you today? I hope you had a very good weekend. It is an open forum Monday. Ryan in Sacktown will join me a little bit later at 8 o'clock as we will have a doubleheader for Rhino with his show. We'll call it a triple header as he had his King's Court at 2 o'clock. Anyway, I hope that you are doing well. It is good to have you here on the program and fire away with your questions. And I am very happy to put you on the show. Here is your link. If you want to call the show, it is very easy to get on. You've also got the QR code as well. Fire away, and we can go in any direction you want. Have you been watching the Olympics at all? What did you think of the opening ceremonies? We have got football news already, a bad injury with Dallas. They have lost defensive end and pass rusher Sam Williams with an ACL. You know, we always talk about this. You always hate to see these injuries in preseason. I mean, we haven't even had a game yet in the preseason, and we're already seeing players go down. So very unfortunate at all. All right. Darius Slayton, according to Cody, saying that Malik Neighbors reminds him of Jamar Chase. I hope so. You know, I hope so. We'll see. I don't put a lot of faith into what goes on in training camp. I really don't. Connor, you want me to know what I think of the Yankees and their trade for Chisholm? Here's what I think about the Yankees. I think that Brian Cashman has definitely worn out a long overdue tenure as Yankees general manager. That's what I think. All right. I don't think the Yankees fit. Just don't. You know, I know they're getting back on track again after that disastrous 10-22 stretch, but I have no confidence in them. You know, I have no confidence in them. Colt sack leader from last season, torn Achilles. I didn't even see that, Sea-Dog. Thank you very much. Thoughts on Tatum not playing? So what? As Jerry Reynolds says, it's not Little League Baseball. Not everybody gets to play 3 innings. So I'm not that bothered by it. You know, they won the game, right? They won the game. You know, I'm not going to worry about how many minutes everyone's playing or who's not playing. You know, I want to read something to you, and I want to talk about this. Spencer Ross is a very seasoned veteran announcer. He put this on Facebook, and I want to get your reaction to this. It's easy to criticize. I do it often, but nearly never, do I criticize basketball play-by-play broadcasters. I broadcasted at least a couple of thousand, maybe more, of NBA and college games, MLB and hockey, a slight majority of them on radio. The first thing I learned, and I was taught by the greatest of them all, Marty Glickman, the difference between calling a game on radio and television. On radio, every movement, every pass, every shot, you're required to give the geographical location. On television, I was taught, do not tell your audience something they can see. This afternoon, I watched the USA dominate a talented Serbian team. I think it was Mike Tirico calling the game. Just checked. It was Noah Eagle. Love his dad, dear friend, but this was unlistenable. Then he puts in parentheses, by the way, this edit was made after I posted the original. You can criticize me for not checking this out beforehand. You won't get an argument from me. End of parentheses. Truth be told, if I'd have known it was Noah, I might have backed off and just called his dad. For nearly 2 hours, there was not a second that passed that he and his partner weren't talking. Jump shot off the back rim. He told me it was too strong. Another miss. He told me it was too short. On and on he went, telling me things I saw. Curry misses a shot. Just say Curry. Don't add not there. I see all of this. Dead air on TV is acceptable. Yeah, Kevin Harlan screams too much, but he's good at his game. Never hear him tell you of a missed shot that it results in a weak side rebound. Never ever tell your audience something they can see. That's radio, where again, I repeat, every dribble, pass, shot, rebound, where on the floor occurs, needs information. Left side, right, left side, foul line extended, straightaway jump shot, drives the baseline, left, right. Got it? Well, what I got from this game against Serbia makes me grimace at the thought I'm going to have a rough time keeping the sound on throughout this tournament. Marty Glickman told me one TV game that he had to miss, and he recommended the great public address announcer John Condon to do the play-by-play. Condon did nothing different. By the way, I'm adding here on my own, John Condon was the public address announcer at Madison Square Garden for the New York Knicks. He said Condon did nothing different. Knickerbocker basket by Richie Guerin. They lead 18-14. The upper side of the screen showed the game clock and the score. Knickerbocker foul on Willis Reed, his second, the team's third. Seriously, that's really all you need for a TV telecast. Marty watched the tape of the game when he came back and thought it was a pleasant experience. Marty taught me many things. Perhaps the most important was when he asked if I thought I was good as a play-by-play announcer. Naturally, I told him I thought I was. His response, well, you are, but always remember anytime your head starts to get big, remember this. The only person who puts the game on to listen to a play-by-play man is the announcer's mother. Lesson, the game is the thing. You don't turn the Super Bowl or World Series off because you don't like the announcer. This from the greatest, a wonderful lesson in humility. There was also the time when I did an Islanders telecast. Marty sat in the broadcasting truck, watched and listened. Driving home, he asked me if I was a bit hoarse. Said I was. Told me that's the reason I didn't do a good job. It's okay to lose your voice on radio, but when you do it on TV, it means you talk too much. Truly love that man. Marty Glickman was a legendary play-by-play announcer, teacher, broadcast expert. I had Ian Eagle on my podcast months ago, and Ian talked to me about the influence that Marty Glickman had on his career. And it was very interesting. Very interesting at all. I would say this. I did not watch the game with the sound on, so I can't comment on Noah Eagle. All right. I would say that he's an extremely young, talented broadcaster who will be probably not only following in the footsteps of his dad, Ian, but will probably surpass Ian, who has had a remarkable, tremendous career. I am very close to Ian Eagle. I consider him a good friend. I could call Ian right now, and he would be on the podcast in 5 minutes. All right. I mean, that's the type of guy he is. We exchange messages. I have the utmost respect for him. I have no problem with Noah because he is supremely talented. I do have an issue with not paying you dues and getting big time assignments. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not anti-Noah. I'm not anti anything. I'm just saying I'm not a fan of that in this industry. I'm just not. But it's hard for me to comment on Spencer Ross's Facebook post, but I found it to be very interesting, very enlightening. And I would just only tell you this. I had a conversation with Marv Albert decades ago. I can't pinpoint where it was. I can't pinpoint what year it was. But we had the same conversation. And Marv told me a good TV announcer is judged more by what he doesn't say rather than what he does say. And I always tried, particularly at home games, you always saw me with my hand up, right? With my hand up. Jerry Reynolds will tell you when I didn't want anyone to talk, I would extend my hand and my arm in front of him, meaning no talking. I did the same thing with Doug. As a matter of fact, we were on video, so you can see the illustration of that on Bogdan Bogdanovic game winner against the Lakers many years ago. I let the game breathe. I let the pictures do the talking. And I learned that from Marv Albert. So I'd be just curious what you think of that. Another thing, and I did a rant on this morning, how Jordan Love is now the highest paid quarterback in the National Football League, along with Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow, is beyond me. The guy has started 1 year, all right, one full season for all intents and purposes, and only had a good half of a season last year. It was an outstanding half of a season for the Packers. Beat the Cowboys in the playoffs. In the final 8 games, 18 touchdowns, 1 interception. But how is that worthy of the highest paid contract in football? How about that? I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I really don't. I don't understand how he gets a contract of that magnitude. Makes no sense to me. And I agree with you, Cody. It is a bit strange, or a bit steep, rather, on the Jordan Love contract. Why does every new contract have to reset the market? I don't have a problem with it resetting the market if it's deserving. You know, like if Patrick Mahomes were to get a new deal right now and it was the highest paid quarterback in football, I'm fine with that. But Jordan Love, come on now. And I like Jordan Love as a player. I think he's going to be very good. But don't you get paid based on what you've done? I don't get it. Rich says it perfectly. Jordan Love is getting too much love. Yeah. Yeah. Don't forget, Ryan in Sacktown will be with me a little bit later, a doubleheader show at 8 o'clock. Do you have any thoughts on, did you watch the game? The reason why I bring this up is Chris Russo, my good friend, who I grew up with, just destroyed Renee Stubbs, destroyed her for her commentary during the Novak Djokovic Rafa Nadal match. Quote, because after Chris Russo's destroying of her, Stubbs came out and ripped Chris. And again, she went to the sex card, you know? I mean, come on. Yeah, she was extremely direct. Called Chris's rant toxic. I mean, misogynistic nonsense. Here's what Chris said. You ready for this? Chris Russo went on his XM radio show. I watched tennis this morning on Peacock, and despite the fact that Renee Stubbs did everything in her power to absolutely ruin it and never shut up, and was poor Mary Carrillo, did an awful, awful job. Oh my God, please. If I'm sitting there at 7 o'clock in the morning watching Nadal Djokovic, I'm a tennis fan. I know the rivalry. I know what's going on with the crowd liking Nadal. I understand. I'm a tennis fan. If I'm up making the commitment to watch these two on Peacock on Monday morning at 7:45, I'm into it. I don't need for every single point. She was awful. Again, Stubbs not pleased and reposted a comment from a viewer calling Russo's rant. But she didn't call it. She reposted a comment. She didn't call Chris toxic, misogynist. She reposted that. And so Chris got upset. All right. Now I'm annoyed. So Renee Stubbs, who absolutely ruined the broadcast today, I will say that to the cows go home. I watched it. Shut up. Ruin the broadcast. How in the world can you call me a sexist if I say great things about Carrillo and bad things about her? If she doesn't think that I have a right to make a comment about our broadcasting, now I've got to listen to Renee Stubbs get on me about her prolific broadcast today. She didn't shut up for 2 hours. To sit there and say I can't comment about a broadcaster when I've done this for 47 years? Come on. There you have it. Sea-Dog says, sounds like Aaron Rodgers and his teammates are having some problems again. Aaron really ripped the team for a sloppy practice. I wouldn't read too much into that. You know? Gavin says 49ers better close the negotiations for Brock Purdy's contract after this season instead of sitting on it and paying a higher premium like they are doing with Brandon Ayuk. Well, I'll tell you right now, Brock Purdy, I would pay him a hell of a lot more money than Jordan Love. I mean, if you're going by that comparison, I don't know what they're going to do there. I really don't. I don't know. But anyway, we got a lot of different things going on. Are you watching the Olympics? John says, Grant, I recommend you do play-by-play internationally. John, you know what? I've actually listened and watched some of the games on the one of the international feeds, and the announcers are horrible, like amateurish, like awful, like awful, terrible. I saw some highlights of USA Serbia from an announcer on some international broadcast somewhere, and it was embarrassingly bad. It was horrible, horrible. All right. Cody says he's excited to see the fans come out in the Sao Paulo, Brazil for the Eagles-Packers regular season matchup. Why? Why are you excited for that? Hey, Grant, do you think Noah is trying to help Dwayne Wade at all? I mean, he's likable, but otherwise awful. I did not get a chance to listen to Noah and Dwayne Wade, so that's very difficult for me to comment on. I turned off the Olympics on the first night and won't turn them back on. The opening ceremonies was embarrassing in that regard. Embarrassing. The Olympics in its entirety has lost me and started to lose me a couple of Olympiads ago. It's lost me. The commercialization, the absurdity, the grandeur, the money spent on the Olympics has lost me. The stories that came out of past Olympics, such as Brazil and other venues such as Sochi, with basically slave labor, death, billions of dollars being spent on the Olympic Games, has turned me off. I watch it sparingly. I will just say that, sparingly. The identity of the Olympics, the purity of the Olympics left us a long time ago. The greed of the Olympics, and I can go on and on. It's not what it used to be. It will never be what it used to be. And for me personally, it's turned me off to a degree. It just has. It just has. So the water on the Seine is causing all sorts of problems. Like, that's a surprise. Sea Dog, you're 100% correct. That's a surprise. I mean, that river, the Seine, has been a sewer for years, basically. I mean, I'm being a little extreme by calling it a sewer, but I'm trying to make a point. You know? Just the way it is. Can't believe they paid Celine Dion $2 million to sing one song. Incredible. Well, I'll tell you, I think she was the best part of the opening ceremonies. I think Celine Dion was the best, all right, the best part of the Olympics opening ceremony. She was unbelievable. I mean, that was amazing, right? And I don't even know what she was saying because she was singing in French. So that was pretty amazing. So Patrick says Wade had a few stories of playing with LeBron, Curry, and others. Yeah. John says that place has been a sewer for 500 years. That's why we found this great nation. Listen, I love Paris. I'm not going to denigrate Paris. I love Paris. It's one of the great cities in the world, and I thoroughly liked my time in Paris. So I'm not going to sit here and rip Paris. The Seine, on the other hand, the river, it's disgusting. But a lot of rivers and a lot of cities are, but that one particularly is bad. But I'm not going to rip Paris. Paris is one of the great I think it's the number one tourist destination in the world, if I'm not mistaken. I like France. I enjoyed France. The French Riviera is spectacular. I love Paris. My wife and I loved Paris when we went there. We loved France. We loved it. Loved it. You know? So, but, again, that's just me. John says kudos to Dion. She was great. Celine Dion was great. Did anyone out there think that was not a phenomenal 3 minutes or so? But that was phenomenal. Just phenomenal. Love the questions. We're going in a lot of different directions. Back to Cody and Brazil. I'm not a fan of the NFL playing in Brazil. I'm not a fan of the NFL playing in Germany. I'm not a fan of that. Not the NFL. So I'm just not a fan of that at all. Is it true that you can't wear green in Brazil? Is that a true story, or is that fictional? That the Packers and Eagles, whose colors are primarily green, can't wear green in the game. Is that true? Just curious. All right. How many games do I see the Giants winning this season? Maybe 6. Maybe 6. I don't think they're going to be very good. I think their secondary is awful. They lost some key peoples. I think they're going to be terrible. I think they're not going to be able to stop anybody on the back end. I think their running game is going to have issues. Yeah, we'll see if Daniel Jones, we talk about Malik Neighbors. He's got to have time to throw the ball. I mean, is Evan Neal still your right tackle, Sea-Dog? I mean, last time I looked, he couldn't block his shadow. I think the offensive line is still suspect. So, I don't know. All right. Grant, where would I locate the 2 new NBA franchises? If it were me, Seattle would be an automatic. I would not put an NBA team in Vegas. I just wouldn't. But it looks like it's going to be Vegas. I don't know where I would put the other one, but it would not be. It would not be. Well, first of all, I would take New Orleans and Memphis and move them. All right, that's the first thing I would do. But Seattle will definitely get a team. Definitely. Absolutely. Cody says, I like the international fans and their mannerisms. You see it in Germany, the UK, and even Mexico. There is passionate fans all over. Well, aren't there passionate fans in America at the home games that these teams vacate to go play over there? There's not more passion in Germany than there is at Lambeau Field for the Packers. There's not more passion in Munich or Frankfurt than there is at Arrowhead for the Chiefs. There's not more passion in those venues than there is in Buffalo for a Bills game. I mean, come on. That's my point. And those teams lose a home game. Seattle would be cool if it's supported. Are you kidding me? It's always been supported. Always. It's always supported. Seattle's always supported the Sonics. They had great fans. That's the least of the issue. Nobody's worried about what to support in Seattle. You know, I haven't looked into this. Someone help me here. Is that true that the Packers and the Eagles can't wear green in Brazil? Is that true? So, I don't know. All right, so I want to give you a quick taste. These are some of the stories that I'm going to be talking about with Rhino coming up at 8 o'clock. All right? And we'll talk about whatever you want. All right? Get ready with your phone calls. That will be tonight at 8 o'clock. Very much looking forward to it. All right? John says, I think the athletes in other countries are more passionate than the athletes from the U.S. for some reason. I don't agree with that at all. I don't think they're more passionate. I don't agree with that. All right. See you at 8 o'clock. I just want to come on for 30 minutes, throw some topics out at you, kind of let you think about this, and then come back with us at 8 o'clock. Thanks, everyone. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.